Clay Harbor mentions how the Chicago Bears plan on getting Caleb Williams to rely more on his top two wide receivers than DJ Moore and Romo Odunze. We'll talk a little bit about that. Plus, two Bears players are mentioned as top trade candidates, and it's stupid. But we do have also a veteran who is on the precipice of maybe not making the roster already before training camp even starts. We'll talk about all that and more right after this.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bears Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bears news and content.
What's going on, Bears fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bears Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related. I'm the host, there, Hayes, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Bears Central on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go to get into this content for today, y'all. And Clay Harbor was talking about the Chicago Bears over on CHSN. He talked about how wide receivers DJ Moore and Romo Odunze are going to come away with more touchdowns this year. He said that he believes that DJ Moore will have more than 6.5 touchdowns this upcoming season, saying this. I'm going to hit him with 7. I know there's a lot of targets to get in Chicago with Luther Burden, Romo Odunze, Cole Kmet, Colson Loveland, but I think DJ is going to be that number one wide receiver. I'm going to go over this as well. Call me a homer, but I'm going to go 6. Jameson Williams, the number 2 receiver for Detroit last year, had 7. But I think Rome looks good. He's that big 6'3", 220-pound red zone target. I think they're going to have to scheme up some plays for him. The big body in the red zone is huge because the windows are tighter. So I think that you throw him up the ball. You give him a couple of these jump situations, big body catches. So I think Rome has 6, 7, 8 touchdowns this year. And so here's the thing. Right, we know that last year the Bears' offense was trash. There was a lot of reasons that went into it. Some of it was Caleb's decision making and his lack of accuracy, his lack of attacking down the field. Some of it was the offensive line. It's hard to have a consistent offensive line when your quarterback's under that much pressure, and they didn't block well in run situations either. But this is a situation in which none of the Bears' wide receivers last year had over 1,000 yards. It just didn't, right? But I think under a Ben Johnson system, you're going to see a lot more productivity of this offense and a lot more of this offense operating and looking like a well-oiled machine. That's why you brought Ben Johnson in here, right? And so while none of our wide receivers went over 1,000 yards last year, I think when you look at like Romo Odunze, for example, catching 53.3% of his targets last year, you add into that Burden, Kmet, Loveland, right? This is going to open up the offense quite considerably. And so we know that one thing Ben Johnson does, he likes to find ways to get the ball in the hands of his playmakers. And that's really, it's an oversimplification, but regardless of the method of how to get the ball in their hands, that is what they're trying to do, is get the ball in the hands of their playmakers and let them make plays. Me, Bobby, and C-Dub this past Sunday on the live stream talked about the importance of yards after the catch for this Bears team, and that's where a lot of these players are going to have to thrive at, right? Loveland, a yak guy. Burden, a yak guy. DJ Moore, a yards after the catch guy. I think Romo Odunze can be one of those guys. He hasn't been that at the level of some of the of what the other ones have done in their respective careers in college and in the NFL so far. But Rome has the ability to be that guy too. And I think Ben Johnson's really going to double down on that aspect of things, of getting the yards after the catch and getting them an opportunity to do that. You look at Odunze last year, right? The fact that he caught over 53% of his targets, 734 yards, 3 touchdowns in a rookie season. It's pretty damn solid, right? And so hearing that, to get him the ball more in the red zone, that just goes without saying. That should be the thing that's there. Him, Loveland, Kmet, even Burden, all should be targets in the red zone. That's not to say that DJ Moore isn't either, but I think when you look at the positional size that all those guys have, that's going to be a big thing here. Now, and while, Caleb Williams' stats were great last year as far as for a Bears rookie, those 20 touchdowns last year, that's not like really where you look at an offense that's airing it out or scoring a lot. So if the Bears have a more high-powered offense like they should have under Ben Johnson, you can easily see those 20 touchdowns going more towards 30, right? And that I'm just putting that at a reason that 10 more touchdowns is quite a bit. But, if the offense really clicks, you can probably see even more than that. And how that is distributed, I think, is going to be a big thing there. So hearing Clay Harbor predict the Bears wide receivers having, tons of touchdowns in regards to DJ Moore having over 6, Romo Odunze having 8, what he predicted there. It's all great. It's fine and dandy, but we're going to see what happens when it comes when they're on the football field. That's the most important thing. And I trust Ben Johnson. I trust this coaching staff. I trust even Declan Doyle and looking at what he's credited as an offensive mind. The Bears are going to have an opportunity to really open this offense up. And it seems like, I say the word seems because we haven't seen any games with this team or this coaching staff, but it does seem like Ryan Poles and for once the Chicago Bears could have a dynamic offense. We've never had a dynamic offense. We've had functional offenses. We've had some solid offense. We've even had some fun. I call them some fun offenses. But we've never really had an offense that you truly look at and you're saying, this is dynamic, this is revolutionary, this is catching up to modern football, this is making the defense has to think. We haven't really done that in the history of the Chicago Bears. And so Ben Johnson is tasked now and his offensive staff to really bring something that the Bears have not had. Dennis Allen's going to do special things on the defensive side of the ball too. But we've seen that. And I don't mean that to sound crappy on it. Like, we've seen the Bears have a dominant defense. We know what it's like for the Bears to have a Super Bowl caliber defense. We know what that's like. We never really seen the Bears have an offense that really feels like something special. And that's what this coaching staff seems like they're trying to bring here to the Chicago Bears. It's something that we just not had before, a new vibe, so to say. So we'll see if the Bears can do that, if they can bring that offense that we need and want to see. And through that, it's going to have to be through, doing things creatively and using your wideouts, using all the weapons that you have there. That's going to be a big thing. One of the things, though, to move on to the next topic that we've of course talked about being a question mark around the Chicago Bears team as far as on the offensive side is the running back room. And, while I've talked about Roschon and DeAndre Swift having, better years because of the offensive line being better, and that's going to help the running back room. Talked about Kmet and and what he offers to the Chicago Bears team as well, as far as like a guy that can pass block, he can run between the tackles, he can bounce it to the outside, he can be a solid enough receiver in the catching game as well to catch passes out the backfield. All those things are there, right? But the depth, we're still trying to figure out the depth there at the running back room. And according to this article, which was written by Ryan Heckman, that the Chicago Bears may already have a veteran running back on the chopping block, and it's because of one of the young guys stepping up. I'm never going to be mad if that's the case. But from this article, we're going to read directly from it. Says this: at the 4th running back spot, the Bears are looking at veteran Travis Homer and the youngster Ian Wiheeler coming back from ACL injury last year. At the moment, I would venture to guess Homer will be the odd man out. Of course, anything could happen, but Homer offers the Bears little to nothing above the ordinary at this point. Now, we all know what Travis Homer is here for. Travis Homer is here because of what he can do, not only sometimes being used in special teams, but also just the fact that he's just a stable veteran depth line running back that you can have on the roster, right? You need some of that in every spot. You need some vets that you can just trust, right? But to hear that Ian Wiheeler may be passing up Travis Homer as the 4th running back to make the roster, and that could leave Travis Homer on the outside looking in, here's what I'm here to tell you. That's exactly what you should want. You should want the young guys to be making an impression and guys with more upside than veterans with floors that I won't even say a high floor, but veterans with a floor that right? And that's what it comes down to when the Ian Wiheeler versus Travis Homer thing. We know that Ian Wiheeler was a preseason darling last year, especially on Hard Knocks and all of that. And Travis Homer, while not like a old vet either, he's only 26 years old. Let's be clear here, right? So it's not like he's some old vet either. He's been in the league since 2019, but you know what Travis Homer is. Travis Homer is and again, don't say this to sound shitty, but he's nothing special. In special teams, he's nothing special. On offense, in the running back room, he's nothing special. And that's not to say that necessarily Ian Wiheeler will be, but you want a young guy who's coming in to now what's going to be his first year actually playing in the league if he actually makes the roster. You want that guy to step up. And I tell you what, with the speed and the ability that Ian Wiheeler has once the ball's in his hands, I would even want to see him more on special teams than Travis Homer if that ends up being the case. So I think that's what you're looking at here. If the Bears are already looking at it and saying that Travis Homer is probably going to be a cut with what Ian Wiheeler has shown or whatever else, so be it. It's not like we're talking about DeAndre Swift being cut for Ian Wiheeler, which would then be a complete and utter shock and surprise. Now, I wouldn't necessarily say for some Bears fans, especially with the way they talk about it, it may not be an unwelcome surprise, but it'd be a surprise nonetheless. Like the depth that you have here, when you have young guys that show, as long as they're showing and proving, and the coaching staff sees the opportunity to use those young guys in whatever way that you need them to be as far as what you need them to do on this team, I'm not mad at that. I would love to see Kyle Monangai, Ian Wiheeler, even Rojo, to a degree, really show that they have the trust from this coaching staff and that they do get used more, that they do, find creative ways to put the ball in the hands of your playmakers. And if they end up showing themselves to be able to be playmakers at any level, I would love to see that. So I'm not mad at that if that's the case. And Travis Homer's always somebody that, like, if he's on your roster, cool. But if he gets cut, you're not looking at it and saying, oh my God, how can we do that? Ian Wiheeler coming back from the ACL, tear that he suffered on Hard Knocks was one of the saddest moments that we saw on Hard Knocks. He's 23 years old, and he showed that burst of initial speed that you like to be there. And he was a candidate. He was looking like a candidate to make the final roster then, even as a rookie. So if Ian Wiheeler is showing enough to where the Bears feel confident that they don't need a veteran like Travis Homer to just stick around to provide that anchor a little bit, great. Give these young guys a time and opportunity. We know that how many of these guys can be in your running back room going forward, right? We know that the Bears are probably going to be looking for a running back one unless, like, Kyle Monangai shows himself to be able to be that. But, they're going to be looking for that next season. So what you want to see this season is which one of these guys have shown, or how many of these guys show that they can stick around and be part of the depth in a running, because you're going to want depth still in your running back room. And so I'm not mad at that. Ian Wiheeler has a lot more upside than Travis Homer at this point, and we'll see what the future does hold there. But all right, let's move into the next topic for today. This one is that 2 Chicago Bears players popped up on the list, on Bleacher Report's list of most overpaid players at every position, and the Bears had 2 players to make that, one being Tremaine Edmonds. We know that Edmonds, when he signed the $72 million deal in 2023 to come to the Chicago Bears, it was at that point in time, if I'm not mistaken, Ryan Poles' biggest free agent acquisition and signing as far as contract. May have been the biggest contract. I fact-checked myself on that one, but it does seem that. And the thing is that he just has not lived up to that contract. There's no way around it. Yes, he's had 100 tackles each of the seasons, and that's good. He's been solid. He's been consistent, but you're getting paid almost elite money. And I think that is elite money, right? And so the fact that he's a cap hit of $17 million in 2025, that's what makes this overpaid. It's not because he's not productive at all. It's because the level of production does not match what he's getting paid or what he's really offering to this team. And so there is an out for the team in 2026 in the final year of that deal, and it's only going to cost him $2.43 million, where most of that then converts over to being cap space for the Bears. And Tremaine Edmonds has a lot to show before he can do that. Now, they said this, right? Edmonds is what he is, a good but not great linebacker who was wildly overpaid. His pack with was a bad contract when it was signed. It hasn't aged well either, but at least the Bears can get out of it in 2026 with a relatively minimal dead cap hit. And it really sucks when you're showing yourself to be that already, that people, even a year before you're even that, is already saying, yeah, it could be dead cap hit. I don't know how much Tremaine Edmonds shows this year. Like I say with a lot of players on this team, because of the change in coaching staff and because of the change of the competency of the coaching that we have here as well, it's not a bad thing to expect that, or to say maybe Tremaine Edmonds can show a little bit more for the Bears this year. Maybe he can be a player that steps up from some for the Bears this year. Maybe that's there. Maybe Dennis Allen is the right guy, the right coach, the right staff that can get Tremaine Edmonds to wake up and perform better. Now, will he live up to the contract? That's a story for another day. And here's the question I want to throw to you guys on this one, right? I think this is a fair question. What do you need to see from Tremaine Edmonds this year to where A, you would consider keeping him around for the Chicago Bears, and B, it would say that he's living up to the contract that the Bears are paying him? Just to go over his stats last year: 110 tackles, 60 of those being solo. He had 1 sack, 1 forced fumble, 1 interception, and 8 passes deflected. Like I said, solid enough stats. Those aren't horrible. People talk about Tremaine as if he's horrible. He's not. Now, things that don't show up in the stat sheet. There are certain times where he does miss tackles. There are times in coverage where he does not, especially as a linebacker when the Bears brought him in. We're looking at what he was going to be able to do coverage-wise. There are times where in coverage, he fails the Bears, right? So those things are there. So outside of the stat sheet, those things are there. But what would you guys need to see from him? His first year with Chicago: 113 tackles, 69 solo, 1 fumble forced, 1 fumble recover, 4 interceptions that year, 7 passes deflected. Solid. Like I said, it's solid numbers. The problem is, it's not that he doesn't produce something, right? It's not like a Nate Davis, whereas Nate Davis gave you little to nothing, and that money, that contract was a complete and utter waste because he gave you nothing. He wasn't healthy. He didn't care. He didn't have a desire to give you anything. But when you look at Tremaine Edmonds, it's the level of the contract. If Tremaine was making more like what TJ was his first contract, we were talking about Tremaine Edmonds as an $8-9 million player, their production would be very well in line with that contract. So I understand why the Chicago Bears, why he was on the list of most overpaid linebacker for the team, because he just hasn't produced. Now, the second player that they mentioned is Cole Kmet. Now, again, Bears fans are going to have different conversations with that one. But when you look at Cole Kmet, last season, definitely he was overpaid. And he was overpaid due to the fact that the Bears didn't use him. For so long, Shane Waldron didn't have Cole Kmet out there in situations where he needed to be. He wasn't even on the field, much less had opportunities and targets. Now, he did end up finishing the season 4th in receptions, 4th in targets, and that's good. That's solid, right? But and even me as a Cole Kmet fan, and I'll tell you this, I do like Cole Kmet, and I think I'm somebody who I'm still a Cole Kmet believer. I know we drafted Colston Loveland, and that's left a lot of people to be like, oh, Cole Kmet's on his way out, and we'll talk a little bit about that more in the last topic we're going to finish this show on. But I think that Cole Kmet can still be a very productive player for you. I would not be surprised if he's more in line with the 719 yards and 6 touchdowns that he had in 2023. I would not be surprised if those numbers are more akin to that than what it was in 2024, where he had the second lowest yards since his rookie year. That's it. It's only his rookie year did he have less yards than that. So I think that you want to naturally look for Cole Kmet to be better for you this season. And I think with this coaching staff to expect it, I think he's going to have a big year under Ben Johnson. I know that Colston Loveland is here, and I think Colston Loveland is going to have a big year too, because I think Ben Johnson is going to be that creative in how he uses people. But I think ultimately, like, it is what it is. Last year, I can't even deny that per the way that he was used, per the production, and even like I said with Tremaine, there are some things as well that don't show up in the stat sheet. Why is he getting tackled by small players sometimes? Why is there no second burst from him sometimes? Like, those are things that you look at with Cole Kmet and that you want to be better here in this first year under Ben Johnson. And let's hope that 2025 can be a much better season for Cole Kmet than what 2024 was. But let me know what you guys think on that down below. With that said, the last article that I want to get into today is an article from Enzo Flojo, who writes for Clutch Points. And when he wrote this article, 2 sneaky Bears trade candidates entering 2025 camp. And I'm gonna not cyberbully today. I'm gonna keep it together. But on this, he lists Montez Sweat and Cole Kmet. Okay, so we've already talked about Cole Kmet, right? I get it why people at a surface level want to have trade conversations about Cole Kmet with Colston Loveland being drafted. But I think when you specifically look at the situation that Ben Johnson has built and what he likes to do as far as using 2 tight end and 12 personnel sets, there's no reason why the Bears will give up depth at a position where they're probably going to use both these guys a lot. I'm so tired of so many people writing Cole Kmet trade stuff. Let's get Colston Loveland on the field first. Let's see what they look like first. Like, he's not a trade candidate entering training camp. They're not even going to look to think about moving Cole Kmet anytime soon. They're just not. Now, maybe towards the end of his contract, maybe when Colston Loveland's up for an extension, maybe you reach that point then. But like this shit is just getting stupid when it comes to Cole Kmet. It's really, really getting dumb because no, they're not going to be looking to trade Cole Kmet. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. I can tell you that right now. Now, as far as Montez Sweat, right? And he labels this as a total reset. What are we resetting from? What are we resetting from? What the fuck are we resetting from? We haven't even set in anything yet. What are we resetting from to the point where I get it? We traded for Montez Sweat in 2023. He got a 4-year, $98 million extension, which was a move that clearly you hope that Montez Sweat is going to be part of your foundation. But people keep looking at the 5.5 sacks. And yes, that was the lowest since his rookie year. And now we're trying to make that out to be like, that's just it. That's the cap. Like, he's done it multiple years in a row. The whole entire defensive line sucked for the majority of last season. It just was what it was. So come on. To look at that and to say that now they're going to trade weapons before they have a chance to look at them, before they get a chance to work with this coaching staff, what are we doing? What are we doing? And especially coming from somebody who is a Bears writer for Clutch Points, like, I expect this from national media. I don't expect this from people that are within the Bears fan base. Like, it's lazy writing. It's clickbait is what it is. And it's just, I'm so sick and tired of it. I get it. We're in a dead part of the season where a lot of this stuff is going to be clickbait. A lot of this stuff is going to be nonsense. That's just where we are right now. And Hayes, to a point, I need to shut up and just deal with it, and it is what it is. But it's so foolish because not every person that's a Bears fan has time to go through and be like, all right, well, like, why is this written? There are going to be people that take this and they're going to say, hey, the Bears are shopping Cole Kmet. The Bears are shopping Montez Sweat. And that's stupid. You just giving shit to aggregators. And maybe that's the goal, because then the aggregators post your link and then you get a whole bunch of clicks on it. It's just stupid. It's just, let's stop the stupid writing. Let's stop that in 2025. I can't wait to football, y'all. I can't wait to training camp opens. Give these writers a storyline to actually write about. But thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you guys are following us at Shy Bears Central. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, ChicagoBearsCentral@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave us a voicemail and our text message for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-242-9336. We are the number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related, but that's thanks to you, lovely and beautiful people. And like I like to end every episode on, Chi-Town up, but Bear down. Love you guys. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.